Hello. Thank you guys very much for joining on the second All-In podcast. Today, as you know, we are covering marketing. Now, I understand that is a massive topic. We're going to cover as much as we possibly can in the next hour, but I feel like this might be a 2, 3, or even 4-part series, so we'll see how we go. Thank you both so much for joining me. I would love to kind of quickly introduce yourselves, sort of why you're on this podcast. You're not just some random person I've chosen off the streets. Before we dive in, if that's okay, we'll start with you, Abby.
Yeah, hi, my name's Abby. I run a social media marketing agency called The Digital Native. I've been doing this for just over, I'd say, around 18 months now. I was previously at Red Bull and I also started working as a marketing executive at a startup and just realised that everybody there back in marketing was like 15, 16 and didn't understand how to use social media properly. So yeah, I just decided that, I'm going to have to go and show people sort of my knowledge and help people as a digital native, somebody that's direct with social media.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining. Congrats on the business.
Thank you.
Lovely to see people going out on their own. And Mia, what about you?
So
Oh, you've just cut out.
I have my social um, here go out straight away start going business. So I work by the dancing mainly. But I'm
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, it did just prioritise Abby's audio, so I think because of the background noise, when one of us talks, Abby, if you can mute yourself, is that quite easy for you to click in and out?
Yeah, that's fine. Do you want me to do
And
that
then
now?
yeah, just whenever
give
you're
me
not
a second.
talking. Yes. Brilliant. And that now should prioritise this. I can go in and edit the audios afterwards. Okay. Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you both. So we're going to dive straight in. So my first question is, I want to go with getting started. So for somebody who's new to social media, what is the first step they should take to set up their presence? And I want to know, as someone with, let's go for example, you're a service-based business with a personal brand. Is it more, do I set up my personal TikTok, my personal Instagram, or do I start afresh? Where do I begin? And I'll open the floor.
in my opinion, I would probably completely start afresh. Like, I feel like there is positives and negatives to already having an account, but I think it's important to really nail down on your niche no matter what platform you're using. So from the start, definitely I would have a brand new platform that's super focused on whatever you're trying to grow or sell, whether that is like a personal brand or it's like your service based or it's a product based business. I completely think that you should go all in on just the one account. That way that you can really show people in your niche like what you're trying to sell, because I think if you're trying too many things on the one page, sometimes your message can get lost. I found that kind of with myself with trial and error, because I also do wedding content creation and social media management, and having those both on the same page, I felt like neither of them were being seen because they are so different, although they are kind of like the same service. So I ended up making two separate accounts, and now it's completely clear of like which one that you're wanting to look at. Does that make sense? Would you
Yeah.
agree with?
I would say I completely agree with the sort of starting fresh completely. I wouldn't use like a personal account that you've already been posting on your friends follow. I would just start completely fresh to really perfect target audience. But I would always say, I think if it's more of like a side hustle, I would probably stick to just one platform and do it well. If you're looking to do this like full time as a genuine business, I would recommend looking at say 2 to 3 different platforms, just because you're reaching different people who might be on these different platforms. You mentioned a service provider. I would probably say you want a personal LinkedIn, your personal TikTok where people can get to know you professionally, get to know you as like a person, and on Instagram to showcase your sort of services and what you do and sort of the like examples of I guess how you'd perform. I would make sure that every platform is like consistent, like use the same profile picture, use the same business name, and just keep it as consistent as possible. I would also say choose where your target audience are. If you're, say, a service provider, you're maybe doing lash extensions, your customer's not going to be on, for example, they're probably going to be scrolling for fun on TikTok. They're going to be maybe looking for services on Instagram. Whereas if you were, say, a nutrition coach or something like that, LinkedIn options, you can target people directly. Maybe TikTok as well, show like the behind the scenes. Instagram, you can educate. So I think it's really specific to what your business is. I would maybe focus on doing one really well first, and then definitely branch out and have different points.
That's really interesting, actually, and I think that was always my worry with starting. Was A, where do I start? But B, like say, do I have to do everything at once? I must admit, and I've heard that this is a cardinal sin. Whatever I share to TikTok, I just download it and put it onto Instagram with the TikTok logo. I've heard that that's really bad. Yeah. But it's all I've got. I'm learning on the job. Now, I also wanted to talk a little bit about, in terms of audiences, you've both touched on that there. What is there a tool or is there a method that I would go about with my target audience? You know, for example, we'll go with Orloon here. You know, I wanted to reach business owners. It's quite a broad area, really. Whereas my other business is email marketing. That's very niche on the size of business that I would cater to. How do I go about deciding on my audience and then which platform's based going to be best even for that?
I think, sorry, I was like, who's going to talk there? I think, well, it's obviously with business owners, it is very, very wide because obviously you've probably got loads of people that would be interested. So I think it's important to have sort of three types of different content. One would kind of be your capturing sort of everyone, your kind of hook kind of content that people stop and listen to, that's not necessarily very, very like targeted. It's
Yeah.
more broad to kind of capture the initial audience on a wider scale, and then in between videos like that have ones that are really, really targeted at specific people, so that you're sort of getting those views out on the bigger kind of videos that are slightly less targeted at your specific client, and then videos that are in between, so that you're kind of, although they might perform less views wise, but technically you're kind of reaching the right people.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Whereas if you're just putting out videos that are completely niche, they might not be seeing the views that you're kind of looking for. But by putting out the kind of broader videos in between, you're kind of gaining that attraction to your page, hopefully eventually finding your proper target market. Does that kind of make sense? There's probably a better way of explaining that, but that's kind of the basic kind of level of the way I've kind of explained that.
Yeah. No, that does make a lot of sense, actually. I think, like you say, I hadn't thought about it like that way. I just kind of thought, oh, well, this is who I want, so here you go, I'm going to talk straight to you. So, no, that's just really helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Mia's saying there. I think creating that sort of funnel that you want your customer to go along from finding you. I think to start with, if you're not sure who your target audience is, I would recommend like really sitting down, I don't know, to like a Notion document, a Google document, and really ask those questions like really specific of who is your exact ideal client. Like, say for example, it's a business owner. Okay, like what type of business owners would you like to like specifically work with, because you'll pick up other people with that, but being really specific of like what's their name, what's their age, income, where do they live, how do they spend their free time, what do they eat, what brands do they like what are their goals, pain points, like being really specific. You can then tailor your content specifically to that person. Obviously some businesses might have a couple of different people, like you can have like one or two different personas, but I think getting really specific with that, and then the journey you want them to go on from the minute they find you or come across your TikTok. Do you then want them to go have a look at your page and go, I really like this business, I'm going to follow them on Instagram. Then you post an Instagram story with a link to your newsletter, and then they sign up. And it's just that flow of how you're going to get them in and then to become a customer at the end. I think in terms of platforms, it's just finding where and thinking about like where is your target audience going to be. Yeah. So I guess like if you say decide you're going to post at 6 o'clock on every day of the week. You want to think, oh, is my customer going to be on LinkedIn at 6 o'clock on the phone? Probably not. They're going to be on TikTok. Probably. Are they going to be scrolling for their Instagram feed? Probably, because they would have finished work. It's just sort of getting in the head of that customer and thinking how they're going to be acting, how do they behave, I guess what do they want to see from them.
That's so interesting. So I'm going to kind of I do have a question lined up. However, that's kind of raised another one for me that, you know, when Instagram first became a thing, there was the golden hour of posting that everyone just posted at 6 p.m. and then algorithms came in and everything changed. So I admittedly used ChatGPT. I feel like I'm absolutely outing myself here. And typed in, what is the best time to post on X, Y, and Z? And I just post at that time. Oh, you're saying actually I need to be much more specific when my clients and my audience even hanging out at that time, then use that.
Yeah, so I would look at
Right.
obviously consumer behavior. Like if you wanted to post on TikTok, I would say hopefully we're all guilty of going on TikTok during work hours, but you would probably say they're either going to be active in the morning or at the end of the day.
Okay.
So let's think about when they would be on TikTok. You can also use like Instagram analytics. I know you can also give those analytics of when your customer is going to be the most active on average. And I would always recommend posting probably about half an hour before that, just so that you're already on the feed when they come to be scrolling. They'll probably come across your video. But yeah, I think it's really specific to your customer. If you were like an accountant, for example, trying to reach business owners, you probably want to be posting in during business hours on LinkedIn, for example, and then maybe getting that more like inspiration lifestyle content outside of business when they're switched off, I guess.
That is so interesting. Honestly, it sounds really kind of obvious now you've said it, but yeah, I'm very much stuck in that. Yeah, 6 o'clock. You just post at 6 o'clock, or I'm even worse, and I film the content. I think of an idea, I film it, and just go, oh, post. I thought of it, I filmed it, posted it. It'll be fine.
I know sometimes I'm so eager to post something. If you like the content and you're like, oh, that right now, like I know the feeling.
Yeah, I've done it. Let's get it out. So in terms of content then, you hear content pillars a lot. And in email marketing world, we do run through content pillars, but I can't see how they link in social media. The pillars that I would work for, I believe, would be very different. So if, for example, we customize chocolate, that's our business. How do we get to the pillars? Sort of, what's our process of how that looks like? Is it the old kind of one's educational, one's informative, and one's a sales piece, or are pillars different to that?
And this would be for the case business, would you say, or just in general?
I mean, we can go specific or we can go general, whichever fits best for you.
I might need you to repeat the question.
How do we get to the content pillars? Are content pillars kind of a broad, one piece needs to be educational, one piece needs to be informative, and one piece needs to be sales? Or are pillars more niche? Like one of my pillars might be successful women or day in the life. Like what kind of actually is a pillar, really?
Abby, do you have any thoughts on?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So content pillars are essentially different themes that you would post on your social media profile. That can be different on any account, and it could also be the same to make it easier for you. I would recommend looking at your content pillars at the beginning when you're creating a strategy. And at the beginning, I would ask yourself, okay, like, what is the goal of my social media? What do I want to be known for? And who do I want to be known to? Asking those questions, you can almost, it sort of does it for you by asking those questions underneath of, okay, so what do I need to post in order to be that person and be known as that person? So I think for the example of like the chocolate. So say if you're a chocolate bar company, you're going to be looking at, I'd say like 3 to 5 different content pillars just to keep things like really varied. I would do sort of, so obviously there's always nice to have a founder content pillar of like who's behind the brand, like the fun side of it, get to know me, like that trust sort of thing. I would do an inspirational content pillar, so showcasing how your chocolate is used in day-to-day life by your customer. For example, it could be like a POV. At the end of the day, you're getting into bed for sleep. Something really relatable to me, something really like I can relate to, and is like on my wavelength.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a level of sales of like maybe what makes you different. You could do like a fun reel of like why we're better than Cadbury's, that sort of thing, just to sort of
Yeah.
set yourself apart, but not directly be like buy my chocolate bar. There's so many ways of doing it, but I would personally avoid the like educational, inspirational, promotional, like general umbrella, and I would go a lot deeper than that because you can inspire somebody at any stage of their content, like of the funnel. I guess that you could inspire the top of funnel people. Um, you can inspire them at any sort of level. You can educate people when you first find them. You can educate people right as they're about to make a purchase. So
Yeah.
I would just make sure to be really specific with your content pillars. Just showcase, get a bit more detail.
Okay, that does make more sense. And that was my worry with the three pillars, that actually it felt too broad. So yeah, that does actually really help. And I guess that we kind of get to that solution when we look into our audience. I guess that feels like that all links.
Yeah, I think I just recommend looking at it as more of like a content theme, as opposed to a pillar, because I think pillars are quite like
Yeah.
specific and like whereas themes can be a lot more personalized for you and your business. Like, say for example, you have a fashion brand, one of your pillars might be outfit ideas, one of your
Yeah.
pillars might be like lifestyle of like where you're gonna wear your outfits, who's wearing your outfits.
Okay.
So it's just that case of being a lot more personalized with it, because that's what sets you apart and what sets your business apart. If you're just educating everybody the same as another chocolate brand thing,
Yeah.
you're never going to really be unique in the end of the day.
And the founder content, is that a big element for the building trust? Is that how we get to that solution? Is there kind of any crossover, or is the founder content really the trust part?
I think you'll build trust through consistent sort of value anyway. One of the biggest ways of building trust is content. I always say to clients and anybody sort of looking to grow their business on social media, look at people like Amy Smile from Odd News, Grace
Yes.
Beverly from Tala, Productivity Methods, Jess Hunt Reply. Like they all have really strong, like they're the face of their brand. Like you don't think of Odd News without thinking of them. So like
Yeah.
if you can, people trust that because they look at say Amy, Jess, Grace as like a friend. I'm like, oh, she knows me, like she gets me, she's got a similar
Yeah.
lifestyle to me, and people find that a lot more relatable and they're more likely to trust it. Whereas like first little thing, I don't know about you guys, but I don't even know who owns it anymore. Like the founders are changing, the CEO changes, they keep selling it. Like there's no sort of backbone behind the business and no authenticity. It just seems like a money making. So I think the trust
Yeah.
isn't there. So people sort of look at it as like a quick buy, like, oh, I need something tomorrow for like a one-off party. I'm going to quickly buy and if you want like a real, genuine experience and like you're buying something that's made properly, good quality from somebody like real, you do get those brands that have like a strong founder.
That's so interesting. I do completely agree. I mean, I will admit I have it's not even a little, I have a huge business girl crush on Grace Beverly. I genuinely, I think I actually did comment on one of her posts that she could sell me a plane. Can I afford a plane? No. Would I buy one from her? Yes, I would. I absolutely would. She's connected with this company to launch a vegan salad that's now called the Grace Beverly salad. I'm not vegan. I don't really like salads. I'd eat it. I'd absolutely eat it. And I hadn't kind of realised that that was why that it can be that strong. So obviously you're both very active on, and that's how I kind of came across both of you. I followed you both for a while and wanted people that will like you on this podcast because you do film that content that, like say I come on, I'm like, oh, I'm really excited the girls are coming onto the podcast because I feel like I already know you.
Yeah. I think that's so important, and that's kind of like how like how you feel connected to her, like the face you said.
Yeah, Grace.
Like that's mad when you think about it. Like someone that you've never met, that you'd be like, take my money. Like I
Yeah.
feel like when it comes to that point, like someone's doing their job right, 100%.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. As a marketer, I'm terrible. I can be marketed to. I absolutely am.
Me too. I'm the worst for like somebody's like buy that and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll buy it.
Okay, if you think I should, I'll buy that.
Absolutely. I think as well it's sort of like just looking at them as though they're a friend. Like if my friend said to me like, oh my god, this new skin product, you'll love it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go and try that. So
Yeah.
if Grace Bubbly, who I see as a friend who definitely doesn't know who I am,
Yeah.
goes, buy this, it's really good. I'm like, yeah, okay, like I see you every day. You're always on my TikTok feed.
Yeah.
Like I trust you. Of course I'm gonna buy
Do you think that's part of it? The seeing people every day?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
touch points.
Yeah.
Like people always say, I think it changes now. Like I'm not sure what the exact statistic is, but 5 to 7 touch points and somebody will make a purchase. So if you're showing up, say, on somebody's email, somebody sees you on their TikTok feed, you're an ad, you're in a newsletter, like you're in like a, I don't know, Vogue, you're in an Instagram feed. The more people
Yeah.
see you, the more likely they are to make a purchase. So it's just multiple touch points. Like
Wow.
it just builds up trust because they're like, oh, I see her every single day.
It's
She
true
knows
though.
what she's doing, that sort of thing.
It does make sense. No, you're absolutely right. I love that. Okay. So how many, we've kind of sort of nicely flown into this. How many times should I be posting on, we'll go for TikTok and Instagram. I feel like they're the two that most people want to know about when they're starting a business. There's a brand, and I spoke about it previously. I won't mention them because I do love them and I don't want it to ever come across like I'm saying bad about them. But the founder of this brand blew up massively and he has launched something incredible. He said in a post that you had to post 3 to 5 times a day on TikTok. That to me sounds so overwhelming. I aim for one every other day. Is that not enough? Am I doomed? What do I do?
If you're looking for like rapid growth, like I have heard most people do say 3 to 5 times a day. However, when you're a business owner and you're single-handedly running the business, and you've got 100 other things to do per day, that is, I think personally, it is difficult to do that.
Yeah.
I hear most people say that it's difficult. Everyone goes, "Oh, it's easy." Like, personally, I would say it is difficult, not impossible. Maybe 5 times is a little bit of a push.
Okay.
I personally, when I've not even been posting on TikTok for that long, and at the beginning I did try and do 3 times per day, and I think I lasted a week.
Oh,
Is
that's
possible.
good going.
Like, so my advice would really to be, if anything, just stay consistent. So if you can commit to 1 time per day, just commit to that 1 time per day. If you can commit to 3 times per day, like, go ahead and do it. But I feel like the TikTok algorithm is favoured to people that are consistent. If you're posting like once on a Monday, twice on a Friday, and like here, there, and everywhere, it kind of used.
Yeah.
Not saying that I post 3 times a day, because I definitely do not. And then
Yeah.
I'd love to. My advice would really be to, if you are aiming to do that, definitely just film everything that you do. Like, there's so many things that can be made into content that you would never think you'd be able to use. Like, anything that you're doing, I would honestly just film it, because you never know when you could just use that for even like voiceovers, like
Yeah.
sounds. See, like talking head videos, you could sit down for an hour and talk at your camera and change your t-shirt 3 times, and there you go, you've got loads of content that you only really filmed within an hour. Like, that's what people mean when they say post 3 times a day. It's not sit and make an elaborate video on CapCut and put the words over it and logos. Like, it's not like that. It's really, really, really just sit, film, post, like, without. Whereas Instagram's obviously completely different. I personally would say if you're wanting to grow on Instagram, posting maybe 5 times per week, probably
Okay.
no more than that. Mix of reels and carousels. I think reels are a rapid way to go, but I would pay more attention when editing Instagram reels, that they're quite short, aesthetic, really look at the sound that you're putting. So it's kind of a different mindset when it comes to Instagram, in my opinion. Really making sure that you've got like sort of that aesthetic Instagram feed, whereas TikTok you can kind of get away with kind of just posting like what you
Yeah.
feel, posting stuff that aligns with your brand anyway, so it kind of just gel together, whereas Instagram's maybe a bit more thought out before posting. Would you agree, Abby?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think my advice would also be it just depends on what you can commit to as a business owner, what you've got time for, what you've also got the budget for. Like if you had budget for a social media manager, then you can obviously just offload that and completely like do as many times a day as you want. But I think, say for example, you were just starting out, you wanted that growth, but you didn't really have the time and capacity. I would find something that works for you and stick at it consistently, like
Yeah.
you said, like you're better off posting 3 times a week consistently for a year than once on Monday, twice on Wednesday, and then nothing for a month. It makes such a difference being
That's so
consistent.
mean.
I also would say, I think I have a good point I was going to make. No, lost it, forgotten it.
Okay.
Can you repeat
It's
the question for me, and I'll just quickly see if it comes back to my brain.
I think I actually didn't follow the questions on here.
Oh, it was posting frequency, wasn't it?
Yes.
Posting frequency. Yeah, my mind's gone completely blank. What was I going to say? Oh, I can say like what I post. So I started actually posting 2 times a day because I wanted
Wow.
quick growth on TikTok, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to trial this because if a client came to me and said like, "Does this work?" I can't sit there and say yes or no because I've not tried it myself. So I was doing 2 to 3 times a day, and I did see really good growth. But like what Mia said, it's not sustainable. So if your goal for TikTok, for example, or Instagram is quick growth, then obviously post as much as you can and find something that works for you. But only do it for a certain amount of time and then sort of refine that. I saw that growth initially, but obviously it just wasn't sustainable for me. Now I do one post a day, Monday to Friday on Instagram and TikTok, and that is sort of just giving me a good little rhythm. I still get like new followers, I still get engagement. The algorithm still pushes my content out to the right people. So I think I've now found that rhythm. But there's no harm in doing like a little bit of a stint just to get that little bit of boost of follower growth and awareness.
So is it fair to kind of summarize in that, to me, it's coming across a little bit that TikTok is much more authentic and organic. TikTok is me and my business. Instagram is the business that you need. It feels very much more
Yeah,
polished and professional. So maybe
yeah.
I shouldn't be whacking out my TikTok content on Instagram.
Yeah. So I always say to people, your TikTok is the back office of your business, and your Instagram is your shop floor. It's the storefront. So
Brilliant.
when
I
you
love
walk into a shop, everything's going to be all neatly designed. Like everything's going to be laid out perfectly. You're going to show the best part of your business, your
Yeah.
product, your service, whatever that is. And then when you open the door to go in the back office, there might be paper everywhere. You might be crying in the corner because you've had a bad day. Like you might be in your joggers. Like it's going to be a lot more authentic and real. And that's what I would probably push your personal brand more on TikTok.
Okay.
Less about the business and what you do, but show who you are, your expertise, day in the life, behind the scenes, share everything, like your opinion on the industry. Say you're a fashion brand and I don't know, a news article comes out that fast fashion is back. Hop on and discuss it and why you disagree with it and why you agree with it because it's a lot more authentic and it shows who you are.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, keep your Instagram as the shop front, like what Mia said in the previous
I love
question
that.
about Instagram being a lot more like polished. Take a bit more time on your Instagram content, whereas TikTok, post it, video it, edit, done. Like it's really a lot more sort of more relaxed, I think.
And is there a sort of special time length? I know that we've sort of touched on that. I did actually read an article in preparation for this call that was saying that short form content, long form content, and Instagram's much more short and TikTok's long. Mine vary massively. Is it, in fact, one of mine that I think it was a TikTok that had carousels did much better than any video. But if we're talking exclusively videos, is there a secret length or does it vary depending on what you're trying to achieve?
It depends on your goal. Like if you
Okay.
want sort of, I guess, brand awareness, you're not going to be filming like a 2 minute talking video because people aren't going to listen to it. If you want like a quick, if you do want brand awareness, I'd say do like a 6 to 8 second video that's going to catch their attention with a good
Wow.
hook. But also keep it like varied. TikTok favors it when you use all the different features. So post a couple short form, post a couple long form, post some carousels, post some stories. Like, use all those features because it also is a good way of testing content. Like say for example, 1 month long form content's really working for you. Carry on doing it until your
Yeah.
strategy maybe needs an ending. And take a little look and think actually my long form's not performing very well. I'll go back to short form and see if that works. I think it's just constantly adapting and just trying everything.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is it. And it's because it is ever changing. I think that's why a lot of people find social media kind of alone very overwhelming, let alone bringing in everything else to do with marketing. So you've touched on analytics there. What do I need to be tracking? If let's stick to, because I feel like LinkedIn's very to be specific. Let's stick to Instagram and TikTok, and I apologise if I'm offending anyone by not including anything else, but let's keep it simple. What do I need to be tracking? What am I looking for? Is there a specific tool, or do I just stay within the app and that's enough for me?
I usually just monitor in the app and like
Okay.
personally, like views. Maybe you can look at sort of where your analytics are coming from. Obviously, you can see the demographics and range. So if you're reaching people maybe that, like I'm from Scotland, obviously I can work with people throughout the UK. But if I was selling something that's specific to where I live and I'm reaching, I don't know, like England, maybe I'm not reaching the right people. That's maybe a bad example, but you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah.
And in terms of, obviously, it depends on how many followers you have as well. If you've got a smaller following, like you're just beginning, like it doesn't really show exactly the correct information. So this is probably more targeted at people that have a bit of a following already, maybe like a couple thousand followers.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, I know on TikTok, I don't think the TikTok analytics show until you have about 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
Or there's extra information you can see. So maybe you could just sort of base it off of like to view ratio. If you're getting loads and loads of views and then no people are engaging, maybe think about like what the reason for that is, like why people are not engaging. Is your content not reaching the right people and that's why they're not engaging? Is it your content that's the issue with it? Like there's sort of self-analysis to be done as well as the actual numbers that you see within the platform as well.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it depends, again, I keep going on this, it depends completely on your goal. Like if you already had a really strong amount of followers and your goal was conversions, then you're going to be looking at profile visits, like external link clicks. If you're sort of just starting out and you want brand awareness, you're going to be looking at views and impressions and things like that. So I think my piece of advice would just be try not to focus too much on the vanity metrics, like the likes, the views, the comments, because it doesn't always tell you much. I would
Okay.
instead create quite specific KPIs. Like, say, for example, you want brand awareness, you want to grow your follower base. Be really specific. Okay, I want 1,000 new followers in the next 3 months, and then map out underneath how you're going to do that and what you're going to do to support this. Because I just find this a lot better way of tracking it and making sure that you're on track. So, say for example, 1 month your goal was to increase 100 followers, but you only increased 50. If your end result is still 1,000 new followers, then you're still on track to that. And then you can sort of analyze, okay, like what can I now do instead to increase that follower? What did I do well? What did I not do right? And yeah, just like Mia said, use your analytics to adjust your content. Like if people aren't commenting, okay, why? Like why are you not encouraging them to content? Like what's happening in that sense? So yeah, that'd be my advice.
I think that's really interesting. I feel like I'm learning a lot. The metrics of sort of likes and views, I see a lot, and I'm probably on that side of TikTok that I'm trying to learn about, oh, you're stuck in the 200, 300 views mark, you're stuck here, stuck there. So I kind of assumed that was a really important thing that I had to get out of this 200, 300 views. Whereas a lot of the videos do convert, I would say, to, people are joining our group, people are coming to our event. So not to really worry about that if the end goal that I'm looking for is being achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen so many posts about this of you've got 200 views. Okay, imagine you're in a room and there's 200 people listening to you. That's a lot of people. And also on TikTok, you tend to reach 200 new people every single time still. Like it's still going out to new people. So try not to be too disheartened by it. But I think my recommendation there is if like your views are low and you are stuck in 200 view jail, which I don't always agree with, just look at your keywords because I'm going off on a tangent now. On TikTok, at the top of your video, on your own profile, there's a search bar. And if
Yeah.
it says find related content, it means that TikTok's not categorized your content and it's not pushed it out further. Whereas if, for example, at the top of your video, it said business owners, TikTok's categorized your content and continue to push it out to business owners, which then increases your views. So maybe just have a little look at that, just a piece of advice.
Mind blowing. I never knew that.
I'll send you a bit after to show you what I
Thanks.
mean.
That seems like illegal to know. I feel like you've just given away like a massive trade secret. Now, there's obviously so much more that I would love to cover. However, I'm conscious that selfishly, I would like to cover my secret sauce end questions first. And we're just going to have to keep coming back and keep talking about marketing because there's just so much to cover. I mean, the questions I have. So we'll go into our quick fire round. So you haven't seen these questions. You have no idea what's coming up. I promise they're not too hard. The first one is super simple and very adept considering where Abby is sat. What is your Starbucks order?
Oh, well, do you know Starbucks or coffee in general? Just Starbucks.
Any coffee in general, what is your go-to?
My go-to would be a cappuccino with coconut milk. When I was young, I literally used to put about 4 sugars in my coffee, and since having coconut milk, I don't have any sugar because it's nice and sweet. So if anyone likes lots of sugar in their coffee, definitely try coconut milk. It is unreal.
I love that.
I need to try that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I'm a bit of a coffee snob, so in the winter it's a flat white, and then in the summer it's a nice
Do you know that is very much of a coffee person? You're not messing around. See, I'm very basic. In the winter, I'm a pumpkin spice latte.
I've never had.
I've never had one.
Oh,
See, it is my go-to. See, in the summer, if it's like that interim before pumpkin spice, I have the same hot that I do cold, which apparently is very controversial. And I'm 1 pump of vanilla, hazelnut, and oh god, what's the other one? Cinnamon. And it's phenomenal. Extra shot of coffee. Need the buzz. I'm pleased you guys have coffee. So my second question is, what is one thing that you think you should know but you don't? Mine last week it was that I don't know how to edit a TikTok. I didn't. I'm getting there. This week I hadn't prepared anything and I'm just now panicking that I actually haven't thought of something. I don't know the difference, like the real actual impact of having a limited company or being self-employed. I understand roughly, but the financial implications, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think mine's probably similar on the finance and tax. I just pay and I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad, but I really, really need to educate myself on that.
I think I'm more the same. Like, any business owners that I know, I don't know if it's young business owners or older business owners feel the same, but see, trying to get my head around all things finance, I feel like I've stepped into another world.
Yes.
Like, there's, like following legislations, and like I only recently registered as a limited company, and even the process of doing that, I felt like I was like, I need someone to sit with me and do this. I know you just do it online, but I'm scared to do something wrong.
No, I agree. I think there's such a big implication if you do it wrong. That's what scares us the most.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Then my final question, it's a one-word answer. We know you will have heard in the group and on the Facebook group, if you guys have joined that there is an event in Manchester where we will all be coming together. I have some amazing things lined up. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share. Goodie bags, events, stalls, a huge networking event, as well as the opportunity to sit down with people and ask questions like these. So what is one thing walking into that event that you would expect? It can be either something you're expecting to see, feel, anything, but just one word that you would expect from that event.
Oh, that's a hard question. Supported.
Okay.
I don't know, you've put me on the spot. I think it's 2 words, but it's probably makes the same. It would be either like relatable or comfortable, in a sense that I go walk in there and I feel like comfortable because everyone around me is in the same boat. Like, I've been to networking events before when we've walked in and like everyone's old, everyone's really like important and professional, and I'm like, oh my god, I completely like can't relate to anybody here. Hopefully, like around people in a similar position to me would be a lot more relatable.
That's brilliant. I love that. I feel like a lot of people have gone very much down the feeling vibe when I've asked them, which I think is more important. I'd rather create somewhere that people do feel safe enough to go up to someone and say, I don't get it. Like, Abby, I really don't get it. Can you just come show me? Like, here's my phone, help me. Like, Mia, come and just sit with me for 10 minutes, please. Actually, do you know what? You're great. Can you just do it for me? Can you just take on my social media and just deal with it? I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the way I was feel, absolutely. Like, I have only been to a few networking events, but nothing kind of where people are in exactly the similar mindset to you. It's all that are maybe have more established business,
exactly.
and they know that it can be like really.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. Well, we will wrap it up there. Thank you both so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I feel like this has been really educational, if not for everyone else, definitely for me. So personally, thank you. I'm sure the girls will find this really helpful, and we will hopefully see you both at the event on February the 27th. But if not, we will see you in the group.
Thanks so
Thank you so much.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.